Good morning guys, I am out here in Valencia in sunny Spain for the UK press launch of the amazing i8 Roadster that I have parked behind me. I'm here with Brendan, my good friend and pro mountain biker. You'll see more of him later in the video. We actually got up literally at the crack of dawn this morning, got up about 5:30 AM and headed off about an hour into the mountains and got some really nice drone footage that you've probably seen a clip of already and I'm going to play throughout the video. We'll just have a quick walk around of the actual car itself. As with most of my reviews, I'm focusing more on the driving dynamics and, you know, it's a typical sort of Joe Achilles review. I watched Tim Shmee150s recently and obviously he goes in far more detail into everything about the i8, so I'll put a link to that video below. But I'm just going to go over the differences, if you like, between the coupe, which I'm very familiar with, and the new Roadster that I have behind me. So firstly, this is one of the new colours called E-Copper, and it's really nice. It's a bit like Valencia Orange in a sense, but it actually really pops in the sunshine. Looks fantastic out here. I initially thought it was a Valencia Orange because obviously we're in Valencia, but yeah, they called it E-Copper. Now, this being the Roadster, you've got these lovely buttresses here, which I think just look awesome. I'm not the biggest fan of convertible cars, as you probably know. I think they always ruin the look of the car if the roof is up especially, but with this one, if anything, it looks better than the coupe. It's got a lovely flowy line to it, it just looks beautiful. And it retains all the beautiful aerodynamic bits and futuristic bits from the i8 coupe. Not only does this look really good, but it's managed to keep the dihedral hinges. I hope I've got that right, dihedral hinges. I think Tim called them the butterfly doors as well. So we've still got the awesome doors that go up. So unlike, say, the Mercedes SLS that lost the amazing gull wing doors with the soft top version, this one still retains it, which is awesome. We actually have a fair amount of storage in this car. So we've got 100 litres behind the seats, which is really useful. So you can put, like, I can stick my douche bag in there, for instance. It's a really usable space. And then in the boot, and yes, it is actually a boot in this one, we've got another, I'm going to make this up, I've got no idea, but the largest cabin size bag would go in there no problem. You've got a charging kit in there as well. That's where the engine is, so it does get quite hot in there. This one being a Roadster, it's only gained 60 kilos. Now, most convertible versus coupe cars, they were saying earlier on that, say, the 6 Series coupe versus the 6 Series convertible, there's about 150 kilos difference, and this one's only 60 kilos. So it's barely noticeable. I think it adds a tenth or two to the 0 to 60 time. And from the short drive I had this morning, it certainly feels every bit as quick as the coupe, and every bit as stiff, most importantly. The base price of this particular one is 124,700 and something, so let's call it 125 grand. This one's got about 10,000 pounds worth of options. It's got like the carbon interior pack. It has the laser lights, which on this are 5,100 pounds, so I don't know how many people are going to go for them, but I've used laser lights in the past in Alpinas and the 7 Series, and in fact we used them this morning. They are incredible. So if you have got the money and you really need lighting, they do make a big difference, but 5,000 pounds, it's a lot of money for the actual lights. They're the main two options. I think the paint's an extra 500 quid, the wheels are an extra 500 quid, but there's not too much. That's pretty much fully loaded at 135,000 pounds. We've got the same running gear so as the coupe, so we've got a rear-engined or mid-engined powering the rear wheels, and that's about 231 brake horsepower. It's a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder unit, which you find in mini Cooper S's and stuff, but obviously it's tuned a lot higher for this. And in the front we've got electric motors that produce about 150 horsepower, so it's got a total output of about 375 horsepower. I wouldn't say it's any quicker or any slower than, say, my M140 in a straight line, but it feels very different, the power delivery, because it's got that electric motor to fill the torque, so you've always got instant torque. Even at like 50 miles an hour in 6th gear, which is top in this, you've got instant go. Of course, you've got the all electric mode as well, which is really cool. Quite enjoy driving that, feels surreal, especially with the roof down. We should jump in the car and take it for a drive, let you know what the highlights are, and talk a bit more about the actual car itself and why it is so special. happening, guys? We're now inside the i8 Roadster. Apologies for the wobbling on the windscreen. This is a really bumpy road and we haven't got long left of the drive, so I put the cameras on lastminute.com because, as you know, most of my reviews I like to spend as much time as I can in the car to give you guys the best feedback that I can. This car, its biggest compliment is it is every bit as good as the i8 Coupe, and for those of you that have watched my reviews and various drives over the past couple of years in the i8 Coupe, I always go on about how brilliant it is. This is obviously more expensive because it's the Roadster version, but it's hardly any heavier. It's 60 kilos heavier, and it is just as stiff. And like I said, performance wise, unlike most convertibles or Roadsters or Spiders that you can feel a noticeable difference, you really can't in this. And even down to the seating position, I do feel like I'm sitting a bit high, but I do feel that in a normal i8 Coupe, so I don't think the H point is lifted at all, which is a real plus point for me and for anyone that's buying one of these cars. Now, we can't avoid the fact that this is 135k, this car, with options. You know, it's not cheap, but when you look at it, it's not a supercar. So anyone that calls an i8 a supercar, it's not. It's straight line pace, I would say, is pretty much identical to my M140 or to most really fast hot hatches these days. But don't let that ruin it for you, because hot hatches are ridiculously fast now and they're as quick as supercars were 10 years ago. So it's a completely different sensation of speed as well, because you've got that amazing hybrid power, you've got the battery power that basically torque fills. And what that means is, where the turbo lag would normally be in this tiny little 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine, the torque fill of the electric motor really just feeds it. So at low down revs, it just gives you loads of torque. So you feel like you've always got power. I'm coming out this corner now, second gear, 1500 revs, I put my foot down, and it's like there's a real urgency and pickup there, and it's brilliant, it's immediate. Whereas if it was just the turbocharged engine, you'd have to wait for the turbo to kick in, and then once the booster's going, you're obviously going to accelerate out. The i8 Roadster's electric roof only takes 15 seconds to go up and 15 seconds to come down. It does it in total silence too. There's no whirring motors. It's completely silent, just like the car is when it's in fully electric mode. There's also a rear electric window or screen that is there to stop buffeting. Now this can be raised up or put down regardless of whether the roof is up or down, and in fact I use that actual screen to mount my forward-facing GoPro camera for all of this footage. I'm just following Emma Walsh in another i8 Roadster, so make sure you head over to her channel and check out her video review of this car, because obviously it'll be different. As I say, check out Tim's if you want all the specs, because we know he just goes through everything. But yeah, it's a really interesting car, this one, because on paper to some people, if you look at the figures, you might not think it really, it doesn't add up to the price of what they're charging you. But when you drive one, you spend some time in it, on the highway, it's a brilliant cruiser. Now without the roof, it's just amazing. It really is. I mean, it's almost too hot out here. I've got my buddy Brendan Fairclough next to me. He'll probably just be in shot, and yeah, he's shared a lot of the driving with me on this trip. And yeah, Brendan, what are your thoughts on this car? How's it been to you?
Like you said, I came in there completely. I'm the bike guy. I don't really know too much about bikes, and start with that. But it's kind of cool to come in as a completely having not a lot of knowledge on it.
Yeah,
which is cool. I didn't really know what it was. I came in thinking it was completely battery car. So to come in and hear it and to hear it sound, how good it does sound, was a nice surprise. And driving it, I really enjoyed driving it.
Yeah, you've had fun, you've been surprised behind the wheel of it.
I've been really surprised.
It's probably not your sort of car, and to be fair, it's not my sort of car. If I had 135 grand, I would probably go out and buy an M2 competition and 7 Series or something, similar to what I've got at the moment. But for those in the market for such a car, hybrid, and I know company car tax and stuff is a big thing these days, and you can avoid a lot of that by buying a hybrid and something as efficient as these. They do make a strong case for themselves, and I think when you compare them to something like the Porsche 918. And hear me out here, I know you're probably laughing, because it's definitely not a Porsche 918. It's nowhere near the performance, or, you know, that's a hypercar. But fundamentally, it's a very similar setup. You know, by which I mean we've got battery power in the front, we've got combustion engine at the back, we've got a very high-tech hybrid system that switches between it all. In fact, I'll put it into E mode now. So E-drive, sorry, that basically cuts out the combustion engine completely. So if I've got range, which I have, I've got 27 kilometers, it will now give me e-drive, and I get, I think, about 150 horsepower of e-drive, which is enough for anything unless you're really pushing on. So coming through here, look, we're coming through a lovely bit of the valley, and we're kind of with nature down here, you know, apart from the air vent that's probably buzzing away. it's just lovely. And look, up this really steep hill, I'll put my foot down, no problem. Like, I'm gaining massive amount of speed, just a little twitch of my foot. And that's really cool. It might be me getting old, and don't get me wrong, combustion engine all the way, but just being able to switch that over, going through villages at like 6 AM this morning, it was really cool, wasn't it? And people don't look at you like, if I was going through a village in Lambo with a V10 blaring away at 30 miles an hour, I'd probably get dirty stares because I'm, you know, looking like or sounding like I'm going fast. But in this thing,
but then if you want to get looked at, if you want to get a little crackle and pop, you can just put it, swap it over, and it does.
And it makes a sound. Exactly, like now we just come up to a straight, literally.
That's right.
You know, and it's a really nice sound. Maybe some of it is orchestrated, but it's a very good orchestrated sound, so you don't necessarily hear that. But yeah, I think it's really cool. And this is the new colour, the E-Copper. They are in the Donington Grey in front, which again is a new colour in the lineup. And I think the new colours are really important because I have to say, the original launch for the i8 Coupe back in, I think it was end of 2013, the colours they launched it with were very beige, like just pretty boring for a car that is so cool. So it's nice to see that BMW, I know BMW Park Lane had some very nice ones in their window a few months ago, various colours, and it's just nice to see bright colours on, you know, what is essentially a very bright car. It's a car of the future, effectively. I didn't think I would be as impressed with the chassis setup, the dynamics, as I was and I am with the Coupe. I've had the Coupe out on track twice. I've done loads of miles on it, and I've just realised it's a very compliant, very good chassis. It doesn't have masses of grip, so it does inherently understeer a bit if you push it into corners too hard. And it doesn't really rotate, like you don't get the rear wheel driven feeling because there's too many nannies sort of overriding, but you have to be pushing on to sort of feel that happen. But otherwise it's very stable, stays very, very flat through corners, because all the weight's on the floor, the batteries are down here, so any excessive weight is down low. So even though it's 1600 odd kilos, a lot of that is on the floor, so, and it feels that way. Change of direction is really flat and level. So yeah, super impressed with this car. It's really nice. I'd like to spend another month in Spain in it. And you know, just to get to sort of enjoy it more and experience it, and you know, get a bit more of a burn marks on my forehead. But yeah, no, it's great. It really is. It's a great car. It'd be a good car for the summer. One last point before I finish. I say good car for the summer. We were just going along the motorway earlier on around the speed limit, and we had the roof up because it was like 38 degrees at that point, and there was no wind noise. It was really good, so you don't get any of the buffeting, as you don't with the roof off, but we're talking at good speeds. There was no wind noise, and in fact you pointed that out. You said, oh, yeah, it's really amazing. Quiet, and it's just really relaxing as a result. You just sit in the cabin and no wind noise. You know, really nice ride. And if you're in E mode or E-drive, there's no engine noise either. So great car. Yeah, and thanks a lot for watching all my videos as always. I hope you've checked out my recent M5 full review, because that was a good one. I was quite happy with that. And yeah, let's hope I get to drive the M2 competition soon, because I know a lot of people are asking me about that car. So yeah, I really hope to get my hands on it as soon as possible, and bring it to you guys. Just want to say say, big thanks to Brendan for coming out, absolute legend, and give him a follow on Instagram, put his link below if you don't follow him already. Just absolutely rad mountain biker and athlete, but really cool person, down to earth, a bit like me really, yeah, not quite as legendary as me, but you know.
And thank you, Joe, for taking me on a cool trip.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No, I'm glad you came, and obviously thanks to BMW UK and everyone else. Cool guys, have a good one, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers! Yeah, so I talked about earlier getting my large cabin bag. This is actually the largest official cabin bag you can get on like a BA flight. I don't know how big it is, but it's quite big. But let's see if it gets into this compartment. Yep, no worries.
Nice.
In fact, there's more room in there. I can probably get my drone on the side. But as I say earlier on, it does get a bit warm in there because the engine is basically here. So don't put any Easter eggs in there.
Or wedding cake, or
wedding cake. Or ice. Ice won't last in there either. But otherwise it's pretty good.